Hey, everybody, welcome to John Talks Indian Cinema. I am your Indian Cinemaniac back with another 10ish minute review. Now, I am working on the list that you guys gave me, okay? And a lot of you are asking me, well, I recommended this one. Are you going to watch it? And it wasn't on my original list. All I'm doing is adding your films to the list, okay? So I will get to them eventually. Now, what is also happening is as a new film comes out that piques my interest, I'm going to watch that. So it's going to mess up the order of the recommended films, but that's okay. And this review I'm going to do today is one of those instances. But there's a couple of films. Control, Sing 'Em Again is going to come out shortly. Diwali. So just keep that in mind. I also want to, with my heartfelt thanks, thank you for I just hit 60 subscribers. I know, we went from 2,800 to 60, but as I constantly say, it's just going to take a while. That's how YouTube works. That's how the algorithm works. But the key to it, as a lot of you have told me, if you're going to view this, you got to like it. And more importantly, you got to comment on it. That somehow affects the algorithm. And the reality is, I've had about 50 subscribers for a while, but I'm only getting about 10 or 11 comments, and like 7 or 8 likes. So I'm begging you, please, when you subscribe, hit the like, hit the notification, and share it. Okay. But I do appreciate everyone who's been sticking with me. I really do. Okay. So the film that I watched 2 nights ago is the film Goat, the greatest of all time, a 2024 Tamil film. Now, before I get into detail about the film, I'm a little offended by the title because, as you know, I live in Massachusetts and our football team is the New England Patriots. Now, yeah, they stink. They've stunk the last few years. But for 20 years, I was a season ticket holder for 20 years. We had the GOAT. We had the greatest of all time. And that, of course, is Tom Brady. So once I got past that and accepted this greatest of all time team B, I totally got into this. Okay. This was directed by Venkat Prabhu. It stars Thalapathy Vijay. So I think he also just goes by Vijay, I think, who I saw in Leo, who I loved in Leo. And this guy's quite the superstar. Prashanth, Prabhu Deva, who I've seen in 2 films, Entharan in Dabang 3, Mohan, and Sneha. Now, the interesting thing about this movie, I saw the trailer for this, and it looked like an action extravaganza, like over the top, which is great. I love that. But the opening title, when it came up, calls it a musical. I don't know how that works in India. And there were musical numbers in this, but I don't know if I'd call it a musical. Okay, the story. The story is about a terrorist, a guy that works for a terrorist anti-terrorism squad, and it opens up with they're trying to. I think it was a. Was it no? I think it was plutonium, a plutonium bomb. I think that's what it was, and they're showing him in action with his team, and the whole action is on a speeding train. So the story is about this guy who, through circumstances, and I'm going to have a spoiler section later on in the show, so I won't spoil it originally. But basically, the story is a tragedy happens to him. He retires from this unit. Now it jumps forward, and they need him out of retirement because of something that happens that has ties to his previous life. Okay. Now it's got a little the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this. He played the spy. True Lies. It's got a little True Lies in the beginning because his wife doesn't know what he does. So and then tragedy, something happens with the tragedy that brings him back in. And he, and then there's a big terrorist plot to blow up a cricket stadium and kill all these people. And there's pretty violent and a lot of twists and turns, some extremely predictable, some were not. So I won't give that away. But as the story goes, because it did remind me of True Lies a lot. I'm going to give this the story a 3. I thought it was pretty good. It kept my interest. It was long. It was 3 hours, and it wasn't 3 hours of action. Now, when the action happened, fantastic, but separated by a lot of storytelling to get there. So, 3, the performances. It's hard for me until I get to the spoiler section to talk about the performances, but I am going to give the performances a 4. And really because of Vijay, who was, I thought, fantastic in this for reasons I will get to in the spoiler section. Everyone else was good. His team, the women, the women weren't really utilized in this, but they were okay. But his performance is what makes this film. Okay. So now the music. Now there was a lot of music in this. Oh, okay. By the way, it's uranium-235. I even had that in my notes. I'm sorry I missed that. Okay. But the first song was in a bar 68. And they just the anti-terrorism squad just finished their mission. And when you finish a mission, what do? You dance at a bar. So they did that. The second song, I don't have it here. The third song, I can't tell you because it's a spoiler. And I don't want to spoil it. Boy, what a great review. Fourth song, The Good Guy. I can't tell you that either. That's spoiling it. Okay. I thought the music was okay. The dance numbers were actually quite good. And I've said this before in other reviews. When you got a bunch of guys dancing, it can go one of two ways, right? It can be, how do I want to word this? It can be effeminate, okay? Or it can be like men dancing, In Indian films, it's more like that. And I like that. It's very, big moves, nothing, no Bob Fosse. You don't know who Bob Fosse is, but jazz hands. So the dance numbers I really like. I just, in the movies, my biggest complaint about musical numbers, and you guys all know this, they just come out of left field. Now I'm going to cut them some slack because they said it was a musical. So in a musical, that's what happens. So I'm going to give the music a 3. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. That's usually right in the middle. Now, my verdict for what the movie is, I'm going to give a 4 to this movie. Okay. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth watching. He's great, and the action is really great, over the top, but it's got a little Mission Impossible. In fact, there's an homage to it. He starts humming the Mission Impossible thing. I wonder what that cost him. I really liked it. Again, a little too long for me for this type of film, but I did like it. So check it out if you haven't. Okay, so now, so I can talk about the spoilers. If you haven't seen it, end it here. After you watch it, come back to this section. I'll mark it in the comment section down below in the description. Okay. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now let's get to spoilers. So what I did not know about this movie is that Vijay plays 2 roles. He plays the greatest of all time, the agent, and then he plays the agent's son, who at the beginning of the film, the tragedy that happens is his son gets kidnapped and killed, or so he thinks. Now that to me was completely predictable that the kid was going to be alive. Now what wasn't predictable was he was playing the kid. And I have to say this about that. The de-aging that they did of VJ was fantastic. I mean, it was great. Like, a lot of times when they de-age, it looks almost like a wax figure, a mannequin almost. Not in this. And the way he played it too. And again, this is why I gave his performance a 4. He definitely plays a different character. His body, his voice, his demeanor, compared to the older version. So I really liked it, the way they did that. And I'd love to see the making of this. Was it actually him? Was it someone else that they CGI'd the face on? I don't know, but terrific performance. I love that, and unexpected. And the whole twist of the thing is he kills the bad guy at the beginning. The train blows up, and then you find out the bad guy's family was on the train, and now the bad guy survives, and he wants to get revenge on him. And Menon is the bad guy, and the actor who played him was okay. Well, he wasn't great, but VJ played his son Jiva. In fact, they did this thing where they introduced people. They would, I don't know if you ever seen the Suicide Squad, but they did it in the Suicide Squad too. They have these graphics come up and explain who the person is. Well, at one point when his character realizes that his son is really the bad guy, they put up this credit: Ilya Thalapathy versus Thalapathy Begins. So they used his real name, which I found kind of interesting and different. But so and then the other thing, let's see what oh, they show how his son, wait, what the heck's his, yeah, I know I got his name in here. What the heck's his name? Jiva Menon. Why don't they have VJ's name? Wait a minute. That's going to bother the heck out of me. Give me 1 second, okay? Don't mind me, okay? Greatest of all time. He plays Gandhi. Oh my God. How could I forget? Oh my God. How could I forget that? I turned 60 this year, so things are very slow. So, so the plot of the thing is, once he gets reunited with Jiva, his son, who he thought was dead, really bad things start happening, and he doesn't make the connection that it's his kid that's doing this. Because what happened was the bad guy Menon pretty much got this kid totally abused and manipulated him, brainwashed him to make him like, you're my son. And, your ultimate goal is revenge on Gandhi, your biological father. Which I thought was interesting. What else? There's a great motorcycle chase through Russia. And again, I don't know if it was actually filmed in Russia, but the way they filmed it, they kind of gave it a gray tint, so it looked kind of dingy. Actually looked kind of cool. And then there's a scene where you figure out that Jeev is the bad guy. He looks right at the camera and does one of these. So he's breaking the fourth wall. And he's not a by the way, his adopted name is Sanjay. So Jiva is Gandhi's kid. Sanjay is Menon's kid. Oh, there's a great scene where they're trying to recover somebody's phone that's got Nirza, who is Gandhi's boss. There's information on it that will help them. And there's a split screen that they do where they're trying to find the phone, the bad guys and the good guys. I really like that. And then, again, musical numbers. I didn't even mark this one down, but after he kills one of the agents, Jiva breaks into a song. And the song was, "Hey, swing it. Hey, break it." It was kind of funny. And then you find out one of the anti-terror squad is the guy that's been leaking all the information to the bad guy. Now, the climax, which is pretty spectacular at this cricket match, I have a couple of questions. One, I assume this was an actual cricket match that was filmed because it was MS DS. What is it? Donnie, MS Donnie, I think it is, right? He was the batter when the climax was happening. But there was also a scene in a bathroom where I think that was a real cricket player who was in the bathroom. I don't know who it was, and I couldn't find it in the credits. But the way they did the scene, this must have been a real person because of the way they played it. Let me know who that was if you indeed know. And it was interesting the way they tied the two, because when Donnie was at bat and he had to get so many runs to win, you hear the announcer, the cricket announcer, and everything he was saying related to a fight between Gandhi and Javan. It was pretty cool the way they did that. Javan. And that whole scene was great in the stadium. He's got Jiva's got the detonator, and he's taken over the security place, and he's going to blow up these bombs that are under the seats and everything. And now Gandhi's figured everything out, right? And he starts calling Jiva and talking to him. He says, you don't know who I am. All of a sudden, they're up in the, I don't know what you call it, but they're up in these enclosed areas in the stadium. Now this wall lifts up and they're separated, right, in their respective rooms, but they're looking opposite each other. And he starts shooting his adopted father. It was just a great scene. And then giant fight scene up on the roof of this place. And it was like I said, the CGI that they did, the de-aging was fantastic. They were fighting each other. It was really good. Fight scenes are really, really well done. The action's really, really well done. And you think that he's going to be able to turn the sun around, right? He's going to find something within the sun, because at one point he's holding his sister hostage. Now he's already killed his girlfriend pretty well. He didn't kill her, almost, but made sure that he made sure that she got killed. Let's put it that way. So he was not a good guy, and he finally, in the end, and it's a pretty brutal scene where he gets killed. So the last scene, or not the mid-credit scene, which I'm going to get to in a second, as Donnie hits the winning sixer, the greatest of all time zooms in on him, which is pretty cool. Now, the mid-credit scene. Now, if I have one complaint about this film, it's the mid-credit scene. Because as ridiculous as some of the plot elements were, and they were, but I don't care. In a movie like this, it's like Mission Impossible, same thing. It's some of the things are so ridiculous. You don't care. You want to see good action. But they did a mid-credit scene where they show Vijay again, except this time no facial hair, which is a big deal for him. But he walks in a room with a bunch of Gandhi clones or Jiva clones. I don't know what the hell clones they are, lined up, right? And that's how it ended. So it wasn't his son. It was a clone. I thought that was kind of silly myself. I thought that was kind of stupid, but they're probably setting up the sequel because I'm sure this movie's going to do well. But I really enjoyed it. Again, a little too long for me, but he was great. He's I don't know. I mean, I've only seen him in one other thing, I think, which was Leo, which I loved him in. But he playing those both roles, one guy pretty good, one guy just awful. I thought he was great. So, and I watched the Tamil version. I didn't watch the Hindi dub because I want to, I know their voices now, so I can tell. I find that other way distracting. So anyway, so that's it. That's my review of the greatest of all time. And when you think of the greatest of all time, Don't forget, think Tom Brady. Okay. All right. That's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button, give me a comment down below. It truly does help. I know I'm saying it over and over again, but this is a slow process because of the way YouTube does stuff. And I got to play the game. I'm trying to pump out more content I'm posting a lot of stuff from the old show. I'm watching 4 films a week. I'm trying to hit your recommendation list as best as I can while still seeing new films, which I really want to do, like Sing 'Em Again. I'm going to the theater to see. But I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate the comments and I appreciate your loyalty. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you soon on John Talks Indian Cinema.
Zubi dubi nache kyun pagal stupid man.
Zubi dubi pampara, zubi dubi param